So I really hesitated to make this video at all. If you watch my channel, you know my channel is about event photography. It's about really helping people and giving them value. It's an educational channel. It's not about like my own lifestyle, my own experience. And the only time I ever want to make a video that is maybe about gear is about how it pertains to like my craft, to my profession, and that of my viewers. So the other thing is that anytime you have opinions that go against the grain, I know how toxic people can be in the comments. I mean, I don't even make gear review videos and people are still toxic in the comments, so I am prepared for that, but that's okay. They don't really bother me. I think people that are really hearing me out are going to get where I'm coming from. So today what I'm going to do is a user review of the Fuji X100VI. It is not going to be an academic gear review, meaning I'm not doing it for the sake of doing it as a gear reviewer, because I'm not one. It's going to be about what it is like to use this camera and did it fulfill what I needed it to do based off what I bought it for. And no, the title is not a mistake. I will get into that at the end. I don't know if this would be a surprise to people, but I didn't buy this camera for photography. In fact, I don't do photography for myself almost at all anymore. If I shoot any photography these days, I'm doing film photography. Work keeps me really busy, and I shoot thousands of images a week that I then have to edit. I'm not thinking about taking photos when I'm not working. But I do really like documenting my trips that I go on, but more so with video. And so I bought this camera really as a video camera. I know it's not trying to be that primarily, but looking at the market, what was available at the time, it kind of fit the bill. Like, I didn't care about the looks of the camera. I didn't care about the retro thing, the dials, none of that. It just seemed like a pocketable, capable video camera. And so that's why I bought it. I bought it as soon as it was announced, but I did not get it before my next trip, which was to Colombia, so I shot film instead. And then in January, I went to Japan, but until then, I actually used this pretty regularly to document the classes at the art center I teach photography at. And first I'll start with what the experience of using it for that purpose was like. I loved it. I loved throwing it in the glove compartment of my car. I loved throwing it into like my gym bag because I'd go to yoga usually after I would document classes. And in that sense, it was really awesome. I really loved that. It was way more preferable to use in that sense than like the 5D Mark II or a 6D Mark II, R5 Mark II or an R6 Mark II. But ultimately, I have not enjoyed using this camera, to be honest with you. And I'm also going to talk about some of the stuff like resolution and all that, but it's going to be from a different point of view. I have a different system for grading gear, and it's not by peeping pixels. My whole thing is, do I notice it? Can I notice a difference without trying to? A good example is I have an R5 Mark II. That's what I'm filming with. I have an R6 Mark II. Sure, the resolution's way better on the R5 II, and if I looked for it, I would see it. But when I'm editing files from a job, I'm not noticing which was shot on what. But I am going to tell you guys, I absolutely can tell what was shot on the Fuji versus like the R6 II or even R6 because it doesn't look as good. I like the colors. That's cool, but it just actually does not look as good as a full frame sensor with, I admit, $3,000 lenses. So if your expectation is for it to look nearly as good, it doesn't. And it's just really obvious to me. It just doesn't. So moving on. What about using the camera in general? So, I'm not using it for photography, so the dial is really... it's like doubly not really a thing for me, not really an advantage to using the camera. And B, I've never understood it. For a tool, I don't get it. Because when you're using dials, you have to reposition your hand every time you want to change a setting. And that's not effective. I love it when I'm shooting film cameras. That's when I'm shooting for enjoyment. But if I'm using anything for like work or in a situation where I just want it to be as usable as possible, I'm not enjoying using dials. So that is a big issue for me. Next, and I didn't see anyone really talk about this when I was researching the camera. The Fuji experience is just not as, in my opinion, intuitive as, say, Canon, Nikon, or even Sony. I shouldn't say it even Sony. I don't know if Sony's worse, but definitely not Canon, which I'm most familiar with. Now, I've really tried to check myself and ask myself, am I just really used to Canon, or is it a more intuitive experience? And I really think it's both. Some people might say, well, you really need to learn how to use the camera, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of making my point, though. I shouldn't have to like really try to learn how to use the camera as a professional photographer and teacher of many, many years. Like, it should be more intuitive, and I do think there's a correlation between how intuitive it is and how effective it ultimately is as well. I don't think like there's a camera that is not intuitive, but once you figure it out, it's superior. I don't think it works that way. And so I have not found using this camera to be very intuitive. I do think a lot of things could be better. Briefly, I'll talk about autofocus. It's fine, it's decent, but again, if you're coming from like a Sony, Nikon, or Canon camera, you're going to be disappointed if you think it's going to do as well. It won't. Again, this is not with rigorous testing. It's just really obvious. And then the last one is Fuji cameras are really kind of clunky and slow and even buggy once in a while, not too often. I've had like an issue. But just recording a video afterward, it takes like a bit of time for it to save. Navigating menus can take a little more time. Like I think specifically, I'm going to test it right now. When I switch to photo mode from video mode, there's like a little delay. Like there's a weird delay just switching between the two. That I don't have when I'm using Canon cameras. So again, this is a user and experience review. This is a frustrating point for someone that is just used to professional Canon gear. That doesn't mean this is a bad camera, but it is something that isn't really talked about that I wanted to address. Okay, so I did end up bringing this camera to Japan. That was my first opportunity to use it for what I bought it for, to create memories and edit a video later on. I actually posted this video on my personal Instagram. Not encouraging people to follow that one, but it's not private. You can find it if you'd like, or I'll put a link to a private YouTube. I didn't publish the video, but I did post it to YouTube as a private video, an unlisted video, so you can check it out if you want. But yeah, it was great. It was fun. It was pocketable. At the time, I did not have this strap. It was winter when I went to Japan, and I just kind of gripped it, which can be scary, but I've never dropped a camera, and it worked fine, and it would fit into my jacket pocket. I had like a big puffy jacket, and that worked out. I actually just put the strap on it on this last trip. I actually went back to Japan and then went to Korea, and that was kind of a game changer in the sense that it was a lot more accessible, and I don't really feel it on my body when it's like hung across, compared to a jacket pocket where I felt like it was pulling my spine out of alignment. And so ultimately I used it more when I had this strap, which I should have bought before. So again, it worked great, but I'm still like frustrated at times with its clunkiness. It's a little fiddly to use compared to a Canon, but it's a lot better than carrying around like an R5 II. I went to Thailand, and it was a family trip. I met my parents out there. My brother lives out there, and my mom really insisted I bring a camera, and so at the time I did not have this. I brought my R6 II with the 50 millimeter lens, and that kind of sucked. Like, if it's not a trip about photography or videography, you just don't want the camera to dominate your experience, and like carrying a camera like that really does. Okay. So that kind of has been my experience with the camera. I do like the results of the videos I made, but I did not like the process of making them. I don't think they look nearly as good as the travel videos I made with my R6 II, but it was a better tool nonetheless because of its size. And so ultimately, like, when thinking about this camera, I kind of think about what's the draw for most people? Dials and the vintage aesthetic. I think, and Fuji look, right? Fuji colors. I think those would be the big three, right? I don't know if I'm missing anything. And I don't care about the dials. I do like the look. I think all Fuji cameras generally look great. I think they look better than Canon cameras. I think Canon cameras might be the worst of all the major manufacturers in looks, but I don't care. I just want my cameras to work, to be effective tools. That's what I care about. I definitely think Nikon looks better. Maybe Sony, I'm not sure. But the looks, while great, not important to me either. Fuji colors. Yeah, I like that because I'm not into, like, at this point in my life, I just don't have the time or the energy to to color grade my footage, and so I kind of like having different looks I can play around with. But ultimately, even that, like, I used regularly like 2 or 3 of them. I actually should probably see if I can even disable the rest because I just don't use them. But then again, when it comes to the look, it didn't make me like the footage more than the Canon footage. I really feel like the Canon footage with the pro level lens is going to look a lot better. So here's the interesting thing. Everything I love about this camera has nothing to do with it being a Fuji, and everything I dislike about it has to do with it being a Fuji. I don't think the dials are helpful for me personally. I don't think the retro-inspired looks, while cool, are that important to me. I just want a camera that's effective. The Fuji colors and different profiles for video are really great. I love that because I'm not really interested in editing like my travel videos. But ultimately, I still feel like the Canon footage I have looks way better. Again, full frame, more expensive camera with, I'm using like lenses that cost anywhere between like $1,400 and like over $3,000. So I get it. But again, not something I'm not in love with the footage other than the colors. I do like them. So where does that leave me? I really wish Canon just made this camera. I wish Canon would make a camera of similar size, quality, but with their autofocus system and their ease of use. That would be my dream camera, but unfortunately, I don't think this camera is. Don't hate me if you disagree. I think this camera can be great for a lot of people, but again, this was based off my perspective as a professional photographer who had wanted this camera for a very specific thing, and for that thing, it's fine, but it's not like this dream camera for me. I generally don't sell stuff I buy. I just don't really want to bother with that. So I might be stuck with it, but if Canon did make my dream camera, I probably would consider it. And before I end the video, because I know people are thinking I'm at the droning on and on part, I know about Canon's latest announcements, and I don't think they replace this. It's not really what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the R50V. It's not exactly what I'm looking for, nor is the 1V what I'm looking for. It's just too small of a sensor. There's a level of quality I am looking for. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts. I'll answer questions if anyone has them.